So let's talk about fundamentally understanding coffee tasting in general, just so you've got a sense of something that the team at Law Espresso, the team at Hot Pickle, well, the team at 4 Henrietta Street will be involved in, and just for your general understanding, depending upon who it is that's watching this video, what is it that coffee tasting involves? So coffee tasting it's fundamentally more commonly referred to, I guess, as coffee cupping. It's a formal way of assessing the flavor and the quality of the coffee. So it uses specific tools and techniques. You have a standardized scoring sheet to evaluate ultimately a coffee's aroma, its flavor, its boldness, its acidity, as well as its fundamentally aftertaste. So there's some of the elements that are really crucial and that are measured when looking at coffee cupping. So it begins with a dry fragrance assessment in which the taster will just smell the ground coffee just to evaluate its aroma. So you've got coffee that's already been grinded from the bean, and then there'll be a sniffing and smelling of the actual ground coffee to get a sense of its aroma. Then next what you're going to do is add hot water to the ground coffee, of course typically through an espresso machine, and that will release ultimately, of course, all of the compounds contained within the ground coffee that contribute to its flavor. So rather, that goes from the actual bean and what happens when it's grounded, and then hot water added to it to contribute to its flavor. So this is known as ultimately the wet aroma assessment. So coffee cupping, you've got the fundamentally standardized scoring sheet. It begins with a dry fragrance assessment to evaluate the aroma. We add water, and then it becomes the wet aroma assessment. And then ultimately the taster is going to, and the wet aroma will be released into an espresso cup. You'll see the body forming onto the top, the frothy layer that is well known and famous within coffee. And then it's for ultimately, if you're tasting it, it's for you to break the crust of the coffee or the top layer with a spoon and then just take a deep sniff of all of the beautiful and amazing aromas that get released upon breaking the actual layer of the coffee. So this is the wet aroma assessment stage, which is a beautiful part of coffee tasting, I've got to say. Then what you're going to do is take a small sip of the coffee, just drawing it in to basically fully coat the tongue with the coffee flavors. So this is meant to be loud, it's meant to be a little bit noisy. So this is really known as the slurp. So this is a small sip, drawing in the air just to fully coat your tongue with all of the flavors of the coffee, and then you're slurping as you're carrying out that action. Then what you're going to do, and this bit's always amusing, you're going to spit out the coffee, and you're going to use that tasting, if you will, where it's already covered your tongue, to evaluate its flavors, the body, acidity, as well as if there's any aftertaste at all. So look, coffee cupping, it's mostly conducted by, let's trained professionals. You're going to get good at it very fast if you're going to be part of the event. And it'll be, coffee roasters, buyers, and ultimately Q graders. These are basically, these are certified coffee tasters. These are the folk that are generally, ultimately, coffee cupping itself. Now, what's crazy, of course, is that there's over, I think I've mentioned this before, 800 aromatic compounds in coffee, and these can contribute to its quite a complex flavor profile. So that's what makes coffee cupping an important tool, a really important tool for coffee professionals to assess the quality of the coffee, to identify any potential defects or just weird flavors. And it's also used to compare different coffee origins as well as varieties. And there you have it. That is the crash course guide to coffee tasting / coffee cupping.